I'm Jimmy. I sing in Polar Bear Club.
Okay, awesome. So, we're on tour right now.
Mm-hmm.
A long ways from home. What do you miss the most?
I mean, it's probably corny, but I just miss my wife, honestly,
Oh, of course.
and my dogs. You know,
Yeah.
but it's true. I do miss my family very much. I also miss. I think generally when I'm on tour, I just miss sort of like the stationariness. Like every now and then you'll be on a tour and you'll be like held up in the same spot for like 2 days, and it's heaven. You know, like this past, we had a show get canceled on us, so we had 2 days off, and we drove straight to Denver to our next show. So we had 2 days off in Denver, and we were there for the day of the show in Denver. So we had like 3 nights in the same place, and it was so nice. It was like, oh, I can put my bag here, I can leave the bag there, I can come back for the bag. I don't have to I'm not always like getting everything together to move to the next place. And that feeling is really nice. I miss that.
So going back to like the being stationary, being on the road. So this next week is going to be Thanksgiving, but you're going to be on the road.
Yeah.
What are you guys doing for that?
Our guitarist actually lives in LA, where we'll be for Thanksgiving. So we're just doing a band dinner over at his place with his fiance and all the band guys. Yeah, it'll be nice. We got it all planned out. She's got a bunch of the food all ready to go. I'm excited. I'm very upset to not be home. We're usually a band that's like pretty adamant about being home for the holidays. This year it just didn't work out, so it's kind of a bummer. It won't be my most sad Thanksgiving though. The most pathetic Thanksgiving I ever had was, let's see, we were doing a tour with Thrice, and it ended in California, and we had to drive straight home from California to New York, and that drive took place during Thanksgiving, and on Thanksgiving Day, I believe I was in Lubbock, Texas at an Applebee's, and I'm a vegetarian, and so I'm at an Applebee's trying to order something vegetarian, and everything I keep asking for, they're out of. So like my first choice, they're out of, their second, I just ended up with a plate of like hot buttered noodle, you know, like at Applebee's in Lubbock, Texas for Thanksgiving, and the waitress was insane. It was definitely like the worst Thanksgiving in the history of man.
Yeah, no, that sounds terrible.
It was bad.
So you guys have been around a while. You've played with some big names. Who have been some of your favorite bands to play with?
Well, we just got off a tour opening for Bad Religion. That was so epic. Watching them was such a treat, and just to say that we did that was something that was, you know, kind of on a bragging rights thing. That was really cool. You know, we opened for them. We opened for Face to Face. That was amazing as well. We spent the first probably year we were a touring band. We were opening for the Gaslight Anthem right as they were first blowing up. So not only are they a great band to watch and amazing people, but to see a band just starting to like be something, that was really fascinating to watch. I mean, we played with them in all capacities. You know, we played with them to 40 people in New Orleans at the House of Blues. We played with them to 2,000 people in London. You know, like to see all that was really fascinating.
If you could play with anyone, any other band, living or dead?
Well, let's see. Living, I would love to play with Jimmy Eat World. I mean, that would be amazing. Or Elvis Costello. Dead, I think like my dream tour would be like us and the Replacements and the Clash and the Talking Heads or something like that. That would be really cool.
Yeah. What did you listen to high school?
What did I listen to in high school?
When you first were getting into music.
Well, I think I probably first started discovering punk rock when I was about 15, and it really was just through my older sister's sort of skateboarding friends. You know, they sort of turned me on to different bands here and there. I started going to shows probably a year or so later, and just became a punk and hardcore kid. I remember, though, it was interesting, the first show I ever went to was this local band called Stand Fast and Unearth and Undying, like in a VFW hall, you know, very, very long time ago. And it was a really aggressive show, and I saw a reaction for this local band, and I was so like moved by it, you know. It's like the idea that I could be in a band too being from Rochester, New York, and people would sing along and listen to it and enjoy it. That was like, it blew my mind. But so I saw, that was my first show. My second show was at the same venue a week later, and it was the Weaker Thans and Elliott. It was a co-headlining tour. And the Weaker Thans had just put out Left and Leaving, to this day one of my favorite records of all time. And I saw them at this VFW hall playing to maybe 100 people. I was sitting next to the guitar amp, you know, on the ground, like watching them play. And like just the dichotomy of those two shows, you know, the difference between them. I've often described my musical upbringing as just like that first Sunday at the metal hardcore show through the week to that awesome rock emo show or whatever. That was probably like where I figured out who I was. You know, I knew this was a part of me now, and I guess I just stayed there.
Yeah. So what have you guys been listening to on the road?
Let's see. We've been listening to that Haim record a lot. Yeah. That has been played like constantly. Also like Joy Formidable. We listened to a lot of Swerve Driver in the van. You know, just different people like different things. Like, we listen to Jimmy Earl all the time, and what other records are we super into right now? The new Queens of the Stone Age record we've been listening to a bunch. You know, we mix it up. You know, we usually are just in between doing rap and rock and stuff like that. You know, we listen to like Danny Brown and Kendrick Lamar and A$AP Rock and A$AP Rocky and all these, you know, just what young people listen to, I guess.
Yeah, sure. I have a question.
Yeah?
So you guys just released your new album. How was that recording process?
It was amazing. I mean, we recorded it at Studio 4 outside of Philadelphia, and you know, a lot of bands have been going there. The New Balance was done there, Title Fight, you know, Citizen, a bunch of bands are doing records there. And it was really a good experience. I mean, in the sense that the guy who produced it, Will Yip, he's a young guy. You know, he's just like he's not a lot of producers that we've worked with in the past have been amazing, but there's always this sense of like, okay, the adult is in the room now, and the kids need to quiet and listen to the adult. And that's not a bad thing by any means. That's actually probably a great thing. With Will, it's a little different. You know, he's just one of the guys, pretty much. It's not like, I mean, he's, you know, the one you defer to if you have a sort of debate, but at his core, he's just a sixth member of the band. And he has an amazing ear. I mean, he's so economical and precise with getting a sound. You know, he's like, I think it just sounds like this, and about 5 seconds later, he has it. You know, it's not a lot of dilly-dallying and getting different tones and whatnot. But the actual, I mean, writing the record was interesting. I mean, we had some of the material written. I remember, I think the earliest I can remember writing a song for this record was, I remember starting the song Why Live When You Can Die. I remember starting writing that song the day after I finished tracking vocals on the last record, Clash Battle Go Pride. I remember being in the studio and picking up a guitar and sort of playing some riffs from that song. And then, you know, we were writing off and on from then until the week before the recording, and went into pre-production and just sort of tightened everything up and nailed it all down.
So what are some of your favorite places to go tour? To just be?
Oh, I mean, I mean, Australia is like one of the best places to go, just in general. It's so beautiful there, and people are nice, and shows are really cool. We've been going to Germany and England for years now. I've probably been over there like 10 times at this point in my life, which is a crazy thing to say, but the people over there really support our band, and it's always fun to go there and play for them because you don't get to do it that much. In the U.S., you know, I mean, we like all the cities you'd expect, you know, Portland, Chicago, New York, whatever, but actually, I'm not just saying this because we're in Boise, but towns like this, I'd rather play Boise than play LA, to an extent. You know, or music towns, you know, like Austin or Nashville are really tough towns to play because they're such music towns. And there's probably 3 other shows that night that people could pick from, or they've been to 3 shows that week. They're a little burnt out on it. Playing those areas is a lot about being sort of the hip new band. But when you come to Boise, or places like Boise, this is a town just like the town I grew up in, and so this is a town we've been playing for years. We've sort of built up a little bit of a following here. People come here not because we're hip or young or cool or whatever. They come here because they believe in our band, and they don't see a show as much as they do in LA or Austin or Nashville. And so there's a different sort of appreciation for it. So honestly, playing here is a place we absolutely love to play.
Any good food you've had on the road? Any memorable?
We just ate at a restaurant that was really good just down the street. I think it was called Bitter Creek.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was really good. But let's see. What are some of my favorite places? There's a place in Tampa called Taco Bus, which is exactly what it sounds like. It's this big bus that has tacos. But it's amazing Mexican food, and we always go out of our way to go there whenever we're in Tampa. But I'm a vegetarian, so my palate isn't quite as refined. This has nothing to do with being vegetarian, but I'm just more of a simple eater than most. Our bass player is really into food, and so sometimes I just sort of follow him around to cooler restaurants and listen to him talk about why it's good, and then I say, yeah, that sounds good to me too. He worked at a restaurant in Boston called the Painted Burro that we just went to that was so good. They had horchata, iced coffee, which was one of the best drinks that has ever been in my mouth. And don't edit that to say yada yada something in my mouth.
we'll try not to.
Please.
The moment comes and goes, but most of the day it's slow. Good